All right, we are now going to plant these middle beds using the intensive planting method. These beds obviously are intensively planted for the cool season. There was a row over here of radishes. There are about 3 or 4 rows of spinach here in the middle. And then there's another row of French breakfast radishes here. I've got chives and flowers on the ends. So the radishes are basically ready to go. This would be that first and second step of pruning and harvesting. So if I pull up, just start to harvest the radishes that I do have, I'm gonna start to make some room almost immediately for the next season's plants. So that's the first step, is harvesting. And I already harvested the row right there last week. So those are clear. I'm gonna take a few of these out of the way so that I have a nice row right here to plant. And then after we we'll prune and harvest, then the next step is adding in compost. So I've pulled my radishes here. I have a bowl over there. I'm gonna stick these in a pot, I think. So these are gonna go in here. Probably pickle those later today. You can, I love braising the greens. They're really, really good to eat like that. So pruning was actually the first step, but I was really excited to pull those radishes. So I've got this spinach here, and some of it is touching the soil, and I want to kind of clear this one row because that's where I want to plant my next season of plants. So I'm just going to go along this side and cut this spinach leaf. So I'm not pulling the whole spinach. This is one of those examples where sometimes you have to sacrifice a plant. I'm not going to pull all of the spinach. I still want to get to harvest from it, but I want to clear this whole row so I can plant the next season. So I'm pulling the spinach. So prune first, then harvest. Like I said, pruning is basically harvesting when you intensively plant. And now we're gonna add compost and plant the next thing. So in this bed, we're going to be doing some rows of bush beans. And then down the center, we're going to be adding trellises, my obelisk trellises for cucumbers. So we'll plant cucumbers in the middle, and on the sides, we're gonna add some bush beans. So I put some compost there in that row, and now I'm gonna put some over here. Now if I wanted to, I could just keep the magic going with the greens here. After the spinach is done, I could do a warmer season green like arugula or mustards or mizuna. It really just is up to you, but you always want to be thinking optimal season. So you want to think what's the, for what temperatures are coming up, what do you want to plant that season? Or what will grow best in that temperature? And then what will grow best with the space that you have available. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to put my cucumbers on this side because they're going to go up the trellis. So they'll be along this row of spinach, and then I'm going to put my beans down there on that side. So I already have, generally you can start your cucumbers directly from seed, but I did buy some starts from my local CSA just to give me a little head start. So you could really have both going at the same time. Starts from seed and start from start. And then the goal would be, that you have a succession of harvests. The one catch is that can happen is you can end up with, I found sometimes the plants that, can y'all tell I lose my tools in the garden a lot? The plants that I start from seed sometimes will catch up with the plants that I transplant, especially in the cucurbit family. It's pretty interesting. And then you also, for cucurbits, you want to keep them very, very well watered. So you can see this is a vining plant. This is the large. It goes on the large plate, and it really isn't that the plant is that wide. It's that it needs a trellis that wide to support it. So I'll come in with the obelisk trellises. We have those in the Gardenary shop, and I'll come in with those to support these cucumbers. So add those down the side, just like that. And I'm gonna have one basically every, probably every foot is what it ends up measuring like. So I'll do 3 on this side, and then I'll do 3 on that side. Do I have room to do that? I don't know. I may have to wait until I cut back that spinach. So in the meantime, I'm gonna put in the beans, if I can find where they are. There they are. All right, again, I bought these beans to be able to show you guys what it will look like in terms of spacing, but generally I would not buy bean starts. I would just start my beans directly from seed right into the garden bed. Beans come up very, very easily from seed. The seeds are huge and very easy to handle, so I would definitely not recommend buying bean seeds. You don't need to, buying bean plants. You definitely don't need to do that. All right, I'm just gonna use my hand for these because it's just easier and I can be a little bit more gentle. You know, I use tools oftentimes for videos, but really, honestly, when I'm doing my own gardening, I usually just do everything by hand. It's like easier and able to be gentler with the plants. All right, so tuck those beans in there. Let's see what else we want to add. We got cucumbers. I want to add a little bit of flowers to the ends here. These beds are a little bare on the end. And then there's all kinds of other things we could put in this space. I have some strawberries I could put down the middle if I wanted to. Strawberries do have runners in them. You have to be, and they are perennials. So they have their own little needs, but I have found success, honestly, from growing strawberries oftentimes on the edges of beds and just let them kind of trail off. They will produce runners, so you have to make that choice. If you want a full bed, like just of strawberries, that's totally a good thing to do too. All right, so we added our flowers. We got our cucumbers. I think we're about done with this bed. So I'll come back in with the trellises so that the cucumbers have something to trail up. I can pull these radishes and then I can replace these with beans as well. So it can be something where I'm just slowly turning over the beds. I don't have to do it all at once. I can just harvest a little bit, change it up, and then harvest a little bit, add new plants, harvest a little bit more, add new plants, and just go from there. So I'll do the same thing over here in this bed. You can see how I already started. This bed, for some reason, the spinach did not come up very well. And so I actually started some beans here already. All right, so that is how we intensively plant this garden. This will be filled with cucumbers eventually taking up these big spaces, and then we'll have arugula or a summer happy green going through the middle. All right, let's keep going.